Hi guys, so today's video is going to be another funny 1-star reviews. What this is I go through a bunch of 1-star reviews for a popular book or series, and I find the ones that I think are the funniest, and then I read them to you guys. I did this last month with my favorite series, Mistborn, and even though I love that series, it was hilarious seeing some of the things that people said about it, so I'll have that linked below if you want to see it. But today, I'm very excited because I have taken what is arguably one of the most, if not the most, talked about YA series on BookTube, and that would be Throne of Glass. For those of you that haven't read this, this follows a girl named Selena, who is supposed to be the most notorious assassin in all of the land, and when we first meet her, she's actually already been imprisoned and she's currently in this mine. She has the opportunity to be freed though if she competes in this competition to become the king's champion, which is like the king's personal assassin. The competition is supposed to have a set of skills displayed through all of these different matches against all these other people competing to become the king's champion, and Selena accepts the challenge and along the way befriends a couple of people of whom are named Dorian and Kale. That's the synopsis for those of you that haven't read it. I promise I'm not going to give away any spoilers in the negative reviews that I read, and I'm only taking snippets of these reviews because readers just leave tons of remarks about why they don't like a book. They're really long-winded, so I'm only going to be reading little chunks. Alright, first negative review. Literally, as soon as Selena arrives at the castle, she goes to the library and stares at the books like a baby owl. I love books too, but they would be the last thing on my mind if I had to choose between fighting for my life or dying. Next one says, do not judge a book by its cover ever, because this book's cover is gorgeous, dark, and has beautiful type fonts, but what it contains is nothing but a shallow, deceitful collection of words and sentences that completely fails to deliver. This next one's a little long, but it's one of my favorites. It says, given our similar tastes and interests in diverse areas, I was influenced to read this by my girlfriend's flattering review. A review that in hindsight was extremely suspicious. It didn't raise my suspicions at the time, but her review was loaded with the kind of gushing enthusiasm that one would expect out of a rabid Twilight fan, and that should have triggered my alarm bells, as a review ruled by one's reproductive urges is seldom a reliable or credible one. Next one says, I have never read a book about being an assassin, the world's deadliest ever, that contains so few details about being an assassin and so many details about being the worst stereotype of a pretty princess. That same person goes on to say, Selena giggles over chocolate as an 18-year-old, whines over cramps, and vomits after being made to run at a distance. Thanks for lowering standards for female assassins everywhere. Next one says, how can something so awful be existent and loved within the general public? How do you like this piece of junk, guys? Up next is one that just basically tries to sum up the plot for you, and it says, this is the story of Selena Sardothian. She's a notorious assassin. Very pretty. The end. I like the determination of this next person. It says, I disliked it from the beginning, which is why I started it in December, stopped, then through immense force of will, made myself finish it in January. This next one says, I'm sad. I had really high hopes for this one, but I'm afraid not even really low expectations could have saved this book from being such a disappointment. This one says, if you like hardcore female characters, feminist narratives, and compelling love interests, I urge you, put this book down and run away from it. Don't look back. Just go. Okay, this one is one of my favorites because it's pretty painfully accurate. It says, this girl has no common sense. In a castle where people are being murdered, she decides to eat a random, unlabeled bag of candy that appears in her room one day. She does not question it. She does not ask where it came from. She assumes it came from a friendly source and eats it even though it could very well have been poisoned. This next one says, I cannot suspend disbelief over a meticulously trained assassin who has supposedly been honed into this exquisite human weapon and is feared in all the land and can withstand any hardship, but whines over wet shoes, cramps, and lack of sleep. Next one says, I originally gave this book 2 stars, but seriously, 1 is enough. This next person has several all caps in their review, so it's like, you can just feel that they're really upset. It says, this was, in caps, the worst. It could have been more interesting if Mads had focused on telling us about the weird murders happening instead of how much Cellophane loves petting puppies and wearing dresses. She's also the worst assassin ever. Clumsy, stupid, loud, impulsive. It was ridiculous to read. This next one says, Selena is so stupid. I don't even know how she's still breathing. I don't understand her. One minute she's thinking about how sad her situation is, and the next she's flirting. This next one says, Lie. The main setting is the palace. The truth. Celaena's bedroom is the main setting. I'm not joking. I read more about how Celaena spent her time in her chambers than anywhere else. Evidently, this person feels lied to also because it says, I was promised an epic fantasy read, but the real thing is far from the truth. I cursed and yawned exceedingly, which would be easy to blame on my lack of sleep, but the book is entirely at fault. Talk about misleading covers and synopses. The hype can shove it where the sun doesn't shine because I swear there is more talk about pretty dresses and romance than there is about combat action. This person also didn't like how much focus there was on clothing because it says, oh, the descriptions of clothes. Can't forget to add those in amongst the long stretches of chapters where nothing happens but sniping and training montages. Next, this person says there's a trend in YA books that a female character, in order to be awesome fighter, must look down on everything feminine. I hate that trope, so yeah, kudos to Mass for avoiding it. However, there's a time and a place for everything. When you're in the middle of a deadly tournament, it's not really the time to focus on dresses or how pretty you look. This next one's a little aggressive. It says, it felt incomplete and poorly researched with stupid characters, especially the main one. What it needed was an honest friend with a baseball bat standing by the writer's shoulder saying, fix that. No, don't look at me like that. I said, fix it. This next one says, DNF'd at 40%. Before this, I've only rated 4 books with 1 star. This book has the honor of being 5th. This person quit right around the same time, says DNF'd at 45%. Yes, I feel almost 200 pages were enough for me to judge this dumpster fire. This next person also quit around the halfway point. It says DNF'd at 50%. I would have stopped much earlier, but I was sadly under the completely mistaken impression that good stuff would start happening later on. They continue to say, there are 2 types of 1-star books, the ones that are simply so rubbish they make you aggressive, and then there are the ones that could possibly have been great, but for some reason the author had little use for its potential and managed to turn the gold mine into a nightmare. Throne of Glass belongs into this second category. We have fantasy, we have freaking assassins, we have royalty, an awesome heroine, and a champion competition. What could possibly go wrong? Read Throne of Glass and you'll find out. Next one's one of my favorites. Says, well, this popular YA series sure isn't for me. And when I say isn't for me, I mean sometimes I was reading this and it was so painfully, agonizingly mediocre that I forgot why I expend the effort to read anything. At least bad books are identifiable as outliers. This was just bland. It was like chewing a bite of cardboard and chewing until you felt like you were going to be eating cardboard forever. This one's great. It says, every now and then a book calls for a reaction that I tend to sum up with a quote from Charlie Brown. Oh, good grief. This person says, I'm not going to degrade myself by reading the rest of this book, nor am I going to put my poor brain through any more strife. And lastly, this is one of my favorites. It says, the premise of a teenaged female assassin made me pick up this book. What I got instead. Girl, I'm a deadly assassin, but oh, how does this white frilly dress look on me? Am I too thin? Oh, and is my hair okay? Oh look, a hunk of a captain. Wait, here's a prince I can flirt with. I'm a deadly assassin. Kapow. Captain of the guard. I'm the captain. I have no other work but to chaperone this deadly assassin. She's so pretty. But I'm the strong and silent type. Does the prince like her? She's a deadly assassin. And lastly, the prince. That's a deadly assassin, but oh, look at her pretty face. I should discuss some books with her. Does she like me? Does she like the captain? She's a deadly assassin. Anyway, that's it for my funny 1-star reviews for Throne of Glass. As a side note, guys, I was gonna display it right here, and I went to put it there, and I was like, I can't cover Stormlight Archive with Throne of Glass. Let me know which one of these negative reviews was your favorite, which one made you laugh the most, which one you thought was the most ridiculous or the most accurate, and then let me know what books you want me to do this for next. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon to get notified when I post new videos, and check out some more of my videos right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.